Hi everyone. Thanks very much for being here, and very pleased to have been able to be here with Vice President Gore today. It's an exciting day, and it's a significant milestone. I want to thank Tim Gray and Environmental Defence for putting this event together, and just to say that this is a significant marker in terms of Ontario's fight against climate change, quite frankly, and it's significant internationally, as we can see from the communique that's coming out from Warsaw today and Vice President Gore's remarks. So it's an honor to be part of a government, and I know full well that this is something that our whole government has supported since we came to power in 2003, and we will continue to advance this cause. So thanks very much for being here, and I'm happy to take your questions.
Is this largely symbolic in the sense that, I mean, when the Nanticoke closes, no one's going to be burning coal unless people burn coal for private use, and I don't know if anyone does.
But what's significant is that we're saying that we don't want to go back. We're not going to go back, and that a future government would have to change the legislation. And we believe that this puts a very clear line in the sand and is significant. Yes, there's a symbolic aspect to it. There's no doubt about that. But as you heard Vice President Gore say today, it's extremely important that there be leadership on this file. It's extremely important that other parts of the world have models to point to where governments are taking action, or making it clear that they are going to deal with climate change issues.
Madame la Première ministre, pourquoi ça a pris autant de temps? C'est une promesse qui date de très longtemps, 2003. Pourquoi ça a pris autant de temps?
So you're asking me why
was
is
it so long to implement?
Nous avons dit que la date est très importante. Nous avons succès sur cette début, and we made a commitment. We made a commitment to reach a target. We are reaching that target, and I think that the success is what we are celebrating here today. There are other jurisdictions, many other jurisdictions, and that's what Vice President Gore was saying today, that have not begun on this journey, that have not made a decision to phase out coal and to make those decisions. And so the fact that we have is what is significant today.
How are we going to replace peak demand? How are you planning to replace peak demand?
So I'm going to let Minister Shirley speak to the details.
And what are the numbers in terms of?
The peak demand, first of all, is very expensive electricity, and you will see in the long-term energy plan, and we've signaled that already, that we're going to a policy of conservation first, and very significant emphasis on demand response. If you take Loblaws across Ontario, for example, they're the poster child on this issue. They have significantly reduced their consumption of electricity through a contract with the independent electricity system operator. There are aggregators who are dealing with large industry and large commercial operations, and they've had tremendous success in reducing the need for peak electricity. There's one jurisdiction in the U.S. that's reduced their base capacity requirement by 10,000 megawatts by demand response, by working with the business community to reduce their consumption during peak hours.
But are we replacing them with gas plants?
Well, actually,
we still need peak demand, so I understand the conservation and efficiency, but we still need that.
Yeah,
so
we actually the gas
coal
plants at the present time are not at capacity, and we can push their utilization up, but renewables are still a very significant part of our plan moving forward. There still will be procurements for new renewables in this new plan, and that's going to be part of our policy moving forward.
Premier, what do you think of MVP Randy Hillier's private members bill that would expand his proposed recall legislation to include municipalities, given the circumstances facing Toronto now with Mayor Ford? Do you support expansion of recall legislation for municipal leaders at all?
Well, expansion of recall legislation. We don't have recall legislation in this province, so it's a private member's bill. There'll be a debate on it, and people will express their opinion. It's not something that the government is looking at this point.
Premier,
We're not looking at recall.
Premier, what do you say to the people in the north who are looking forward to those employment opportunities that would have come from the development of the Ring of Fire now that that's being killed?
Well, the Ring of Fire. We're going to go ahead and work to develop the Ring of Fire. I mean, there's no stepping back on our part. The fact that we made the announcement of the Development Corporation. There are significant resources on the table, and there are other companies that want to work to develop the Ring of Fire. So the resource that is in the ground in the Ring of Fire is not dependent on one company developing it. There are many opportunities, and we're going to continue to work to make sure that it happens.
Are you going to move faster on that as a result of this? There are a lot of companies that are willing to spend billions of dollars to mine in the Ring of Fire and develop that resource.
I didn't hear the first part of your question.
So there aren't a lot of companies that are willing to spend billions of dollars to develop their Ring of Fire sites. And a lot of this has to do with the lack of access to the site. I mean, if you put everything else aside, they need to be able to have a road to take the ore down for smelting.
And we recognize that government is going to have to partner with the enterprises that are interested in developing the Ring of Fire. We understand that, and we understand that there will have to be collaboration on infrastructure development. We're absolutely clear on that. So that's what I say. That's what I mean when I say we have got and have had significant resources on the table, and we will continue to work with companies to develop the Ring of Fire. This is not about one company. It's about a huge opportunity, and we, as I said, the Development Corporation that we announced was something that Cliffs reacted very positively to, and other companies will step forward. So I continue to be optimistic because it is such a significant deposit of minerals, and we'll work with the companies that are interested in developing it.
Are you going to accelerate your plans at all as a result of this?
When did you learn that Cliffs was backing out, and
Yesterday.
what efforts did your government make to...
I learned yesterday that Cliffs was backing out, and that was a business decision that they made.
Do you think that you need to speed up your plans?
Is it not hurting the economy?
And then I'll come to you.
Sorry.
Your electricity plan, is it not hurting the economy though, because high rates are implicated in the loss of significant amount of the manufacturing sector in Ontario?
Well, I'm going to let the minister speak to the details, but I just have to say that the conversation today and listening to Vice President Gore and listening to the voices coming out of Warsaw, I think make it fairly clear that the decisions that we have made in the province to move ahead and phase out coal are significant globally, not just in Ontario. They are significant globally, and we have a diversified mix of generation in Ontario. We will continue, as the minister has said, conservation first is going to be our approach in the long-term energy plan. And there are young people who are here today, one of whom is standing right here, for whom this is extremely important. This is about future generations.
She has a question.
Yeah, and I'm just going to let Bob speak to that. Yeah, and then we'll come.
With respect to electricity prices and the Ring of Fire, as you may be aware, there have been discussions ongoing with Cliffs and other companies in the north for quite some time, and we put some things on the table with respect to electricity prices that were very attractive, and we believe they were very reasonable. And I don't believe that was the reason for Cliffs not proceeding at this time.
Adrian, you had a question.
Oh, I was just going to ask, does what happened with Cliffs show you that you need to move faster? Is this going to change how you proceed on the Ring of Fire at all? Are you going to have to accelerate this to make sure that you don't start losing other companies as well?
I have, and you will know that I was Minister of Aboriginal Affairs, and at the time when we were seriously getting started in terms of making investments and putting, as Bob said, those resources on the table. What I know is that there is a complexity to how we have to work to develop this resource that that we can't deny. So the fact is that we need to work with First Nations communities, we need to deal with the infrastructure issues, and we need to deal with the commercial interests of the companies that want to develop the Ring of Fire. So we have to do all of those things simultaneously. We are moving forward. We have the Development Corporation. My hope is that it will become an entity that is strong very soon. But we have had to deal with those other issues as we go along, because if we don't deal with those things up front, then it will be impossible to develop the resources.
So no, you don't think it needs to be. You don't need.
I think we
you
need
have
to
get
continue.
faster?
I think we need to continue to act, but to suggest that somehow we haven't taken action is it's just not accurate. We have, and we need to continue to do that. And because we have now got in place the framework for the Development Corporation, I think it will be easier to move. But we need to remember that there are many facets to this, and we have to continue to pay attention to those.
Just back on voter recall, earlier today your municipal affairs minister said that the province would look at the private members bill the way it is, or if it's expanded to cover municipalities. Now you're saying you wouldn't look at it at all. So
no, I mean we look at all private members bills when they come forward. I mean it's very important that private members bills raise new issues and that we have an opportunity to consider them. We don't have any plans at this point to act on a policy like that. Of course we look at private members bills. We'll continue to do that, and quite frankly listen to the debate that ensues because of the introduction of the private members bill. So there's no contradiction.
Just as a follow-up, do you think voter recall would work in Ontario?
I'm not going to preempt the discussion. Because if I were to express an opinion at this point, it would just be my personal opinion. It's not something that we've had a huge call for, and I think that there are other mechanisms that we can put in place in terms of accountability that wouldn't go to recall. And it, yeah.
No.
Is it okay? So are there other journalist questions?
Yeah, I just
okay, I'm going to do one. I'm going to come to you. Okay.
The government's been trying to tackle emissions, and the cap and trade scheme is something that you could flick the switch on at any point. Do you have a plan in place to move forward on this pricing of emissions for industrial producers or companies?
I'm going to ask the Minister of the Environment to speak.
We are doing consultation at the present time with a variety of sources on greenhouse gases, for instance. This is ongoing. We're talking to the companies themselves. We're talking to people in the private sector, the public sector, and that determination will be made in the future.
Soon?
I can say in the fullness of time.
Okay, yeah.
So is it fair to, or is there cause to celebrate the elimination of coal when the lion's share of energy in the province still comes from nuclear?
I think it is absolutely appropriate to celebrate the phasing out of coal. I looked into the crowd today and saw the executive director of the Asthma Association, and I think that any family that has a child who struggles with asthma would say, yeah, this is absolutely the right thing to do.
So my name's Hannah Alper. I'm an eco-blogger, and
Hannah, you were at the Meet a Wee Day, right?
Yeah. And my message to young people is that little things add up to make a big difference. What's your message to young people?
My message to young people is that we want to make sure the air is clean and the climate change is under control, so that when you're grown up, the world can be as beautiful a place as it has been when I've been growing up.
Thank you.
You're very much welcome. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks, everybody. Nice to see you.